Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Today we're going to be doing a project that you might need to get yourself a scissors and a glue stick and some extra paper for. You don't need to, but it does make it a little bit more fun. We're going to be making a 3D city with some skyscrapers, and the way that you can make the tops of the building is by cutting out some squares of different color paper. Or you could cut out some squares from white paper and color them, which is actually what I did. If you don't have scissors or glue or extra color paper, you can also just draw these on with marker or pencil or whatever. So you don't need to do that step, but it is a little bit more fun. So for this project, if you have it, I would get yourself a scissors and a glue stick and some extra paper. And then of course your normal paper to draw on. And then make sure that you have some coloring supplies so that you can make your city. And then real quick before we start, if you want me to include any of your drawings that you've been doing over the past month in my next drawing video on Thursday, make sure you send those to me either on my email or to my Facebook page, whatever you'd rather do, because those are going to be in my next video. But anyway, go ahead and get your supplies for this one here and let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do on our project is we are going to glue down our squares so that we have the tops of our buildings. So I have 6 here. I cut out some white squares and then I colored them in. If you have construction paper, you could cut different colors. If you don't have any extra scrap paper, you can also just draw these squares on, and that's fine too, but I kind of like gluing them. So I'm going to choose 3 colors for one side and 3 for the other. And what I want to do is I want to glue each one like a diamond. So not like this, but you want them kind of like this. They can be a little turned, but you just don't want any of them, flat like that. So I'm going to start with the bottom one first. I'm going to use a glue bottle. A glue stick would probably be a better choice. I just don't have one. So I'm going to put just a little bit of glue. And then you're going to place it closer to the bottom. We need space for all of our squares. Now when you do the 2 that are above, you want to make sure that this corner does not line up perfectly with this corner. You want it to either be a little to the right or a little bit to the left. I'm going to do this one a little bit to the right like that. And this one's going to be a little bit to the left. It really is important to just make sure that none of these line up perfectly with each other. So I'm making sure this doesn't line up with this one, but also looking down here and just making sure that they don't all line up. Because if that happens, it's a little harder to draw your buildings. All right, now I'm going to do the other side. Now that you have the tops all glued down, and again, you make sure they're not all perfectly lined up, we're going to start drawing the sides to our buildings to make them look 3D. So I have this ruler here, and I'm going to start with my bottom squares first. You do not want to start with the ones on top, start with the ones at the bottom. And I'm just lining up my ruler. And at each of these 3 corners, so for all of them, you're going to ignore the top corner, but the bottom 3 corners, you are going to draw a line straight up and down, coming from each one. Now that I did the bottom ones, I can go up to this next row, and once the lines run into one of the other buildings, those lines are going to stop. We're not going to add those any further. And now we move on to our top buildings. All right, so we've drawn the sides of our buildings and now they're starting to look 3D. The line in the middle is like the front corner of the building, and these are the two sides. So the sides, and that's the front corner. Now when we add things like windows, there's a certain way to draw them so that it'll look more three-dimensional. Let's start with this one. When you're adding your designs and details, it really doesn't matter what buildings you do first, because at this point it doesn't matter. So I'm going to draw some small windows, and if I want them to look 3D, I'm going to do on this side first. I'm going to draw a vertical line, so straight up and down. It's not at an angle. However, the top and the bottom of the window should match how the roof looks. So see how this roof angles like that? My window is going to angle like that too. It matches. The other side is straight up and down, but the bottom angles. So basically the sides of all the windows will just be straight up and down, but the tops and the bottoms should match the roof. Like that. If you want to add some window panes, you can do lines straight up and down inside the windows. And if you want to draw a line that goes across, match the roof, the angle of the roof. So all your up and down lines, all your vertical lines, those are just going to be straight. Anything that goes across should actually be angled. On this building, I want to do windows kind of like this one. So I'm going to do a bunch of diagonal lines that match the roof. I'm being careful to notice which buildings stop and start where, so making sure I don't accidentally draw this onto this one. And on the other side, I'm matching this side of the roof. And then I'll do some lines straight up and down. If you want to draw small squares, again, a vertical line, and then you want to do two diagonal lines for the top and bottom, and another vertical line. You're always doing up and down for the sides, and then diagonal for the tops and bottoms. Now I know that this might be a little tricky the first time you try to do it, but just try your best. It's something that you will get better at and you will be able to do really successfully if you keep trying again and again. But I know that it's a little hard the first couple of times. I'm just going to decorate these ones in some different ways. All right, so I have my different buildings all decorated, and now it's kind of hard to tell what's even going on in here. So I'm gonna start coloring it in with crayons and just taking my time, and you guys can color your buildings in however you want. But once you start coloring them, they're a little easier to tell apart. Alright, and I am all done coloring in my 3D city now. Of course you could add some extra details. Maybe you could draw like something in the sky, or You could have drawn people in the windows and stuff like that. That would have been a nice idea. But just take your time coloring your city and making it however you want. Alright, you guys, hope you had fun drawing your cities today with me. I'd love to see how you made yours. Whether you used extra scrap paper or just your pencils and markers instead, I just love to see how you decided to make it. And again, make sure if you want me to put your drawings in my next video, you send those to me by the end of today, or they will not make it in. They'll go into the next one. But yeah, you can do that to my email or to my Facebook. And I will see you guys on Thursday for another drawing video. Bye!